Hello everybody, I'm Paul Higgins and welcome to the 2014 Kia World Extreme Games right here in Shanghai, China. The best action sports athletes from around the world come right here to compete in a number of great events. We go down to the Yangpu district, in particular the Jianwang Stadium, for all the great action. Coming up, we'll be taking a look at some BMX MiniMega, but first, let's take a look at Vince Byron.
I'd say my training routine's pretty relaxed. It's all at my own pace, on my own schedule, how I like to do it. So I know how dialed I need to be and how prepared I need to be for certain contests. So I'll practice, the certain tricks and stuff like that. I also like to try and stay fit and that sort of thing and play other sports, surfing, basketball, like whatever. Sometimes go to the gym when I have time, that sort of thing, basically, and always riding my bike in one way or another. My heroes growing up were like Matt Hoffman and Dave Mirra, and nowadays it's more of my friends and my peers that I look up to, and my inspiration, to keep people interested in the sport and that sort of thing. And it makes me happy when I see kids get excited about watching us ride, me and my friends and that sort of thing, and to bring new things to the table, new tricks and that sort of thing. That's always inspiring to do that. I always love coming to Shanghai. It's like my 6th time here, I think. Always a good crowd, everyone gets really excited and gets me pumped up, so the competition also is, it's pretty strong, so I've got some guys to compete against, which is pretty good, but I'm looking to see what I can do to bring it back out on top.
This is the BMX MiniMega Final. 10 riders in all will compete as they have made it to the final. And we will break it down for you. The BMX MiniMega Final, the crowd on hand, it is a great crowd. And the conditions could not be any more perfect than they are. A slight wind, the bike riders will deal with that as they are professionals. And here is a look at the rules and how it breaks down. 10 athletes compete, 4 runs per athlete. The highest score wins. We'll have that running total for you and keep you abreast of who's in the lead and who needs some help to get there. The 10 athletes, well, they are some outstanding athletes, some athletes that you have become familiar with here in the course of watching the Kia World Extreme Games over the last several years. Zach Newman will start it off, and he'll be our first rider. I am joined today by, yet again, Zach Yankush. And Zach, welcome to the Kia World Extreme Games.
Thanks, Paul. Psyched to be here. Psyched to watch these guys attack this massive ramp. Probably my favorite event here at the Kia World Extreme Games. It's the MiniMega. It is a big, big ramp. 2 levels to it, if you will. You've got the big jump, and then you've got the quarter pipe. The riders are going to be judged on both. We're going to see some wild tricks, and looks like Zach Newman is just about set to drop in.
Yeah, that's right. We've got a great list of riders, and you can see Zach Newman will be our first rider to go in, and then we'll be followed by Ben Snowden. Now, if you look at the bottom, Vince Byron has been the guy to beat over the last couple of years here at the Kia World Extreme Games, but also in the middle of the pack at number 6, watch out for Simon Tabron. He is a fantastic rider. He can pretty much win a contest in the blink of an eye. But the riders, again, they will have 4 cracks at this, and they have to do tricks on both ramps. So you've got the quarter pipe that finishes it off. The key is execution.
That's exactly it. Zach Newman coming in, starting things off. Tail whip. Zach is a new one when it comes to riding this big ramp. Big boosting air on the quarter pipe. Great look at it air, and that is as simple as it is. You got 2 jumps, stay on the bicycle, get as fancy as you like. When the smoke clears, we will have a Kia World Extreme Games champion.
Ben Snowden getting ready to go, and Ben Snowden, of course, very familiar to this ramp, and I know that you looked at it a little while ago. It was a little windy here in Shanghai, but the wind has settled down, and we have to talk about the wind because that can play havoc. We might see it a little bit later on in freestyle motocross.
Absolutely. When you're going this high on a ramp this big, the slightest wind can send you in one direction or the other. Here comes Ben Snowden with his first visit. We call that one a turn down. Ben doing a nice little tabletop air. We call it a tabletop because the rider makes the bike go flat like a tabletop. That trick's been around for about 25 years.
So we started off with Zach at an 80.33, and Snowden awaits his score as we get set for our next rider, which is Anthony Napolitan.
Napolitan, a good personal friend of mine. He comes from my hometown, Youngstown, Ohio. We've grown up riding together. He's got a couple X Games medals on this very event. Backflip tail whip out of Napolitan, puts his foot down. So that, unfortunately, is going to be a throwaway run, but we talked about it before, Paul. Some of these guys come out swinging. Some of them take it easy their first couple of runs. Anthony Napolitan letting it all fly right there with a backflip tail whip.
That's right, and our next rider will be Michael Laren. We'll see him a little bit later on in the competition, and of course, he competed on the street course. And right now, he awaits the green light to go as Napolitan's score will drop in. And here we go with Michael.
Superman seat grab, yeah, Michael. And then it's the quarter pipe, clicking a look back. Now the key is you gotta do tricks on both. You can do an amazing trick on one, and if you don't trick the big quarter pipe, your score is not gonna be as high. So it's double is important for you to land both of your tricks. We see Michael going Superman seat grab right there. Douglas Liche will be our next rider from Sao Paulo, Brazil. First time out here at the Kia World Extreme Games.
Laren gets an 84, so he has the top score so far to beat. And run number one, they get 4 runs in all. And it goes by pretty fast. They'll narrow it down to a top 5, and then those 5 will move on to the final. And that is as steep as it looks right there on that shot.
You're absolutely right. Backflip over the gap. And then getting tabletop, big air right there.
Douglas Liche will give away to Simon Tabron here in just a second. And Simon, you just never know what this guy can crank up with. But here, what do you think about this?
That is a massive air right there. Probably one of the highest airs we've seen so far out of Liche.
So Simon Tabron, he will be next, our 5th one to go. Liche with a 84.67, and when I talk about the wind, it starts to kick up a little bit, so blowing a little stronger now with some gust.
Tabron dropping in, 360 over the gap. What has he got? He can boost. 540 on the quarter pipe. That's the most difficult trick we've seen on that quarter pipe so far.
A 360 to 540, and just getting a good run underneath him, literally. And we'll take a look at it one more time. Here's the 360.
It is very difficult to 360 that ramp. It's actually easier to backflip than it is to 360. And then Simon firing out a nice 540 right there.
So as we weight his score, it is a 86.67. And then we move right into Colton Satterfield. And Colton, another rider from the USA.
Colton, a seasoned veteran at riding these type of ramps. You can expect big tricks out of Colton. He's known for combinations. I would be very surprised if we did not see combinations on both the gap and the quarter pipe. Here we go.
Whoa.
That's called an air traffic controller.
Oh my goodness.
Air traffic controller, that's a trick invented by Dave Mira. It's a no-handed 360 backflip.
Wow, if he's trying that on his first run, that's pretty impressive. No elbow pad, so when he came down, it was all skin and bones here.
Let's see what went wrong here. Oh, just got a little front end heavy a little bit.
Boy, he got lucky.
Yeah, he got really, really lucky. So that's one of the dangers of this ramp. If you crash on the gap, there's always the susceptibility of slamming into the wall, into the big quarter pipe. That's happened to some of these guys. So hopefully the rest of these guys can stay on their bicycles.
So he still got a score of a 73 for what he did. He stayed on the bike, didn't fully go down, so he gets a score of 73. Morgan Wade now, another really solid rider in the sport of BMX.
See what we get out of Morgan Wade right number one. No-handed backflip, great extension there. Here comes the air. One-handed tabletop.
Satterfield. 73. Morgan Wade waiting for his score, and once again he did the no-hand backflip, and we get ready for that. And then as we do, Chad KWEG, no stranger to competition, no stranger to not a stranger to the Kia World Extreme Games and getting on the podium.
He knows what it takes to get on the podium. He would love to leave here with a medal, and he's got some new ones as well. Do we see these new ones here in the finals, or does he save them for another contest? Let's find out.
Chad Kagi in, Wade with an 88. No-handed backflip.
It looked like a no-handed backflip. It was actually a cliffhanger backflip right into a flare whip. He takes his feet and his hands off, holding on to his handlebars with his feet. It sounds insane. See if we can see it in slow motion. Feet holding on here, feet completely off the pedals, no hand. It's called a cliffhanger. Motocross guys steal a lot of tricks from BMX, but we stole that one back from those guys. Great run for Chad Kagi.
Should be the highest score of the day as we get ready for our #1 qualifier, and that's Vince Byron. So Chad Kagi with a cliffhanger backflip on the first jump and a 90.67. So not a bad way to start the day. That's the highest score. That's the score to beat. So Vince Byron's going, what? We're already getting into this thing on the first run?
360 Superman seat grab, Indian air, right into a 540 tail whip on the quarter pipe. 2 big tricks for the young Aussie, Vince Byron. The only Australian in this competition. Watch this one. 540, spinning 1.5 revolutions while the bike spins around him 360.
The Kia World Extreme Games will be right back with more heart-pumping action after the break. Welcome back to the Kia World Extreme Games. Let's rejoin the action from these top international athletes in this spectacular event. So we go back to Newman, and Zach Newman had an 80.33.
Here comes Zach Newman for run number 2. 360 X-up, good combo there. Nice turn down for Zach Newman. First time for Zach Newman riding this ramp.
So Ben Snowden gets ready to go, and here Newman with an 80.33. Is this going to be better than his first run?
I think so, yeah. That nice little combo 360 X-up will certainly bump his score up a bit. Newman's best run is 80.33. Ben Snowden's best score is 77.67. Ben up there waiting for the green light. Snowden going Grizz air over the gap. And then a nice little tabletop, keeping it on the safe side.
I wonder if the wind has a factor in that right now.
It really could be. We see the flags that are flying on top of the quarter pipe, and they are substantially blowing in the wind right now. So as we've seen in years past, when the wind has become an issue, the riders might take a second or two. There's a good look at the flag. And like Paul mentioned earlier, when you are 30 feet off the ground with a 20-pound bicycle, the slightest wind can throw you off course.
So Anthony Napolitan, who did that backflip tail whip, is now getting ready to go. He has a score of 74.
I have a feeling we're going to see another flip whip out of Anthony Napolitan here. Let's see. Turn down backflip, keeping it safe. What are we going to get on the quarter? Quick little invert. Anthony wanted to get a solid score under his belt after his bobble in run number 1.
So Snowden's score increased 4 points, or a couple points, pardon me, to 78. And Napolitan looking to increase his score. He had a 74, and we go into Laren who has an 84. So you see as we go, the scores start to get a little higher. So Neapolitan with an 83.33.
Michael Laren in, backflip can over the gap. Stretching a one-handed one-footer, great extension on that. We talked about Michael earlier this weekend, the fact that all of his tricks, he just stretches them as far as he can. This one, can, backflip, taking his foot, crossing that top tube. We go back to Dougie Fresh, as he's known, back in Sao Paulo, Brazil, Doug Liche.
So Liche, he's really making a name for himself here at the Kia World Extreme Games. So Laren's score of 84.67.
Oh, I just saw his little practice mannerisms right there. He might be going for a front flip here.
And he's got the same score as Laren and Lecce have the same score. So here we go. Front flip.
Oh, yes, it is. Perfect front flip from the Brazilian. Yeah, tuck no-hander to Euro air. Great run for Dougie Fresh. Wow. I saw him kind of like throwing his weight forward, you know, simulating what would happen in a front flip. And a lot of guys do that, especially on this ramp. You want to get in that motion, and that's exactly what he did. Great run for Doug Liche from Sao Paulo, Brazil.
So he had a score of 84.67. We'll see if that changes, as Simon Tabron has a score of 86.67 and 85.33 for Doug. So he gets a little bit better score in his second run. So Simon Tabron, very decent score. He did that 360 to 540 a little while ago on his first run.
Also, I'd like to point out that Simon has no brakes on his bike. He's a little bit crazy to ride this ramp with no brakes. 360 with the variation, keeping it rolling. Yeah, table 5, that was awesome.
Did he take his hand off on that 360?
I do believe that it was a crazy angle, but I think the hand came off there. One-handed 360, let's see if we can get the replay on that one.
So Simon Tabron
a
being
little
consistent.
one-handed 360, good call right there. Your eyes are better than mine.
I doubt that. Simon, we're here to help each other. So his run of Satterfields is 73 is the low one right now, and the 5 that you see up there on the screen. And Simon Tabron with an 86.67. And so he's high up there in the scoring column right now.
Colton's going to send it right here. He knows what it's going to take.
Wow.
Colton.
That's a second crash.
Looks like a 360 tail whip or downside tail whip. I'm going to have to look at that angle again to see exactly what he was trying right there. 360 down whip to whip back. It's called the Italian job. Is what that trick is. You can see the frustration right there.
He had it.
He's the only guy doing that trick on MiniMega as well.
Colton Satterfield is almost crashed his first time, crashed that time, and did a good job of holding on. 72.67. And Morgan Wade had an 88 on the no-hand backflip, his first run, so now we get set for him. And here we go.
Yeah, Superman goes down. Morgan goes down. I love the antics of Morgan Wade. Whenever he crashes, it's always something funny. You know, he always makes light of it. He'll, you know, do push-ups. He'll do some sit-ups, do little dance moves like that. See what went wrong here. Superman seat grab Indian air. We call it an Indian air because his legs are crossed in the air. And ooh, you see his elbow just touch that.
Why aren't these guys wearing elbow pads?
You know, that's a good question. He's certainly gonna have some bruises tomorrow morning.
Chad Kagan, he's got the elbow pads on.
The problem with this ramp is you're going so fast, it's not so much the bruise, it's the friction burn that you get.
Yeah.
Chad Kagi poised and ready to go. Chad Kagi is in. Backflip tail whip, perfect landing. Superman seat grab Indian air on the big quarter, yeah. We call that a backflip tail whip or a flip whip in BMX. The rider is going upside down and kicking a tail whip, and look at the extension on that Superman seat grab Indian. Both legs kicking out as far away from the bicycle as possible.
Chad Kagi with a 90.67 right now and a 90 on that run. So he's pretty darn consistent. Vince Byron in second place right now, qualified first. Here we go.
Whoa! Vince Byron, that was a decade to Superman seat grab. We talk about the fact that the Kia World Extreme Games is the place that a lot of these guys try their new tricks. This is the beginning of the BMX season, and that's a new one. I've never seen that one before. One-handed decade to Superman seat grab.
Pretty amazing. So Chad KWEG right now leads all the field after the round one. Vince Byron in two at 90.33. Morgan Wade's got an 88. The competition is heating up. We're 2 runs into this. We've got 2 more. The crowd anticipating what's to come. We will have more of the skateboard MiniMega ramp, and you can take a look at all the results right now after the first 2 runs. Chad KWEG with a 90.67, as I mentioned. Vince Byron in second. And Morgan Wade, this is after heat number 2 with 2 more runs to go. Stay with us. You're watching the Kia World Extreme Games right here in Shanghai, China. Stay tuned. There's more exhilarating action coming to you after the break. Taking a look back at Mitchie Brusco, nailing his run, having some good times out on the ramp. You mentioned Emil, 17 years old, and the Kia moment right there. So for Mitchie Brusco, nailing that run, congratulations goes out to him. The excitement continues at Jingwon Stadium here in Shanghai. Let's head back to the action. Our current leader right now is Chad KWEG. No surprise there. Right behind him is our #1 qualifier, Vince Byron, but Zach Newman on the course right now.
Zach Newman with a big 360 X up, following that with a big tail up on the quarter pipe. Zach's riding really well, considering the fact that this is his first time ever riding MiniMega. He's ridden a ramp similar to it back at Woodward Camp in Pennsylvania, but the first time riding the MiniMega, and he's actually doing really well.
Yeah, his first score was an 80.33, his second score an 82.33. We'll see what he does here as we get set to shift on over to Ben Snowden. His 2 best runs, 77.67 and then that 78, so that's where he is right now. And the tricks should get even bigger and better as we go. because there's still a lot of tricks in the bag, right?
You're absolutely right, and all of these guys want to leave here with a medal. They would love to take the title from Mr. Vince Byron, who is currently sitting in 2nd place right now.
Well, check it out. As I mentioned about Zach Newman, his 3 runs, he got an 84. So every time on the ramp, he has bettered his score. Now he gets set for Ben Snowden. First run was a 77.67, and Zach, his last run was a 78. What do you expect here?
You know what, Ben's got a ton of tricks as well, and he's kind of been taking it easy a little bit, so I think Ben might step it up as well. No, I stand corrected. He's just taking it easy again.
The quarter pipe, I'm just wondering, I'm looking out, we're not directly in the wind, but it is definitely blowing pretty hard from the flags that I can see.
Yeah, it certainly has picked up in the last hour or so.
So, Ben Snowden with a 78, and we'll see if he moves a little higher, but I doubt it. I bet you he'll hold on to that 78 as we move on over to Anthony Napolitan.
Anthony Napolitan has got a ton of tricks. He can do double front flips. He can do front flip tuck no-handers. He can do backflip double tail whips. He's got an enormous bag of tricks.
I mentioned the wind. Here it is. It's whipping around, and the athletes definitely look at the flags and they see how far they're blowing and where they're blowing, which direction, because it does matter. When the wind hits those spokes that are on those rims, it can throw you in wicked directions in the air. And if you're thinking of going inverted or something, you might think twice about it.
Absolutely. Here we go with Napolitan. Are we going to get a front flip out of this guy?
That's nuts.
Backflip double tail whip.
And he holds on, and he's able to at least do a no-hander.
Wow, he saved that when you saw his feet blow off.
Yep.
And some guys just would have hit the brakes, but this is the Kia World Extreme Games. Anthony knows that he needs to take every opportunity to score. Backflip double tail whip. In BMX, we call that a helicopter. His feet actually did not touch the ground, so that was going to count. That might be his best run yet.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Napolitan has an 83.33. Mikel Laren getting ready to go, then 84.67. So this is the bottom 5, if you were to say, because they qualified at the bottom part, and 87.33. So he did increase his score by 4 points. So that definitely paid off. Just think if he could have done something even bigger and better off the quarter.
Exactly. I think if he would have been able to stick the actual landing on the helicopter, he would have scored higher, obviously. So now Mikel Laren rolling in. What are we going to get out of Mikel Laren's extended Superman seat grab? And then an extended one-footed one-hander on the low side.
I think that would be an opportunity for to up his score, or do you think he'll stay there as you watch this again?
Let's see here. Superman seat grab, proper extension. Landed really well. It's going to be a close one, 84.67.
So 84.67, and
he might bump up a little bit on that score, on that run, I think.
Yep. So the wind is playing a little bit of a factor. We're being told that sometimes the athletes have a little bit of a delay before they drop in, even after they get the go sign. They kind of wait and see the pattern of the wind, and then when they feel comfortable, they'll drop in. Again, it's about the safety of the riders. We're here to put on a show and for these guys to compete, but we want them to go home and compete in their next contest. And be back next year, right?
Exactly, that's right. Doug Liche, they call him Dougie Fresh. Last run score, 85.33. What are we gonna get out of Dougie Fresh Liche? Here we go. Nice front flip.
Slip of the pedal a little bit.
I think he was looking for a no-handed front flip right there. So Liche, 3 runs in.
Here we go, looking at it one more time.
Now you see how the handlebars are all in his lap. That's because he wanted to take the hands off to go no-hander with it, but something might have clicked in his head, said, hey, don't take the hands off.
That's right.
So he stayed safe and kept it rubber side down. So we will see another run from the Brazilian in a moment. Simon Tabron will be our next rider to go. Great Britain. He is a multiple world champion, actually expecting twins with his wife Shayna.
Oh, that's great
in the
news.
fall.
That's great news. 86.67 as you mentioned it.
No-handed 360.
Big 540.
Great looking 540.
So he is laying down some very solid combinations. and stuff, obviously tricks that he can do without a doubt. Here, the big 540.
Yeah, see him just getting tabletopped with it. Good combination, 2 tricks in 1. That's what the judges like to see.
So Simon Tebron, an 87 in his last run, so that increases his score. And we get set for Colton Satterfield, who's crashed a couple of times.
He's going to turn it up here for sure.
He hasn't fully crashed.
There
He
it
stays
is.
on.
No-handed 360 backflip. 1, 2,
Whoa.
3.
That's-
Triple tail whip, Paul. That was huge.
Triple tail whip.
2 big tricks. 360 backflip no-hander. We called it an air traffic controller right into a triple tail whip. Watch his hands. They call it an air traffic controller because that's what those guys at the airports do with those the lights. They bring the planes in, and then this one, 1, 2, 3 times around, triple tail whip on the big quarter. That might be the best run of the day thus far.
That's a game changer right there for this competition. Colton Satterfield had a couple of little slip-ups, and now he's got a 91. So there's a guy with perseverance right there. He didn't fully crash, but he did slip off his pedals and saved one, and then he comes away with a clean run at 91. So that is your leader right now.
And now he's put the pressure on. He's lit the fire on the rest of these guys. They know what they need to do. Top score is a 91 right now. Morgan Wade, focused and ready. Morgan can probably boost that quarter higher than any of these riders. See if he utilizes it. Here we go.
First running the no-handed backflip there. A nice clean backflip. And then a huge tail whip.
Big.
Double whip, right?
Double whip, yeah. Morgan, man, he is going so high on that quarter pipe. Yeah, a little foot plant tail whip on the wall of the quarter.
Getting himself up on the ramp there. And once again, we take a look at it. Clean backflip setting up for the quarter.
That's what it was. That trick right there was a setup. He just wanted to get a lot of pump to do a massive air. And that's exactly what we got out of Morgan Wade. Run coming in now.
The Kia World Extreme Games will be right back with more heart-pumping action after the break. I'd like to thank our partner DJI for giving us these great drone shots. I have one of these at home and they are fantastic. You get a hands on one, this is the kind of stuff you could do. How cool is that? Normally we'd have to whip out our own big helicopters, but now we've got the drone, the DJI, our partners here at the Kia World Extreme Games. Let's rejoin the action from these top international athletes in this spectacular event. Now we get set for Chad KWEG. Chad, here we go. He's got a bag of tricks.
Boom, a double backflip.
Double
Holy
backflip.
cow, right into a massive flare whip.
Wow.
We talked about it, Paul. All it takes is one rider to light the fuse. Colton Satterfield did that. Came out with an amazing run, and everybody following him is stepping up their game. Double backflip out of
crazy.
Chad KWEG, and then watch this one. 180 backflip with a twist and a tail whip. We call it a flare whip. KWEG so dialed at that trick.
So 2 really good runs, a 93.33. So that opens the door. Chad goes back into the lead. And the 91 a little earlier by Colton Satterfield really lit the fire, as Zach Yankovic just mentioned, but Vince Byron could change it again.
You're absolutely right. We saw a brand new one that he attempted. Is he gonna go for it again? There it was, decade to Superman seat grab. Whoa, my goodness gracious, 540 double whip. Paul, we are seeing some incredible riding out of these guys. We have never before seen that. Decade to Superman seat grab. Traveling around the top of the bike, grabs it Superman seat grab style, gets back on, and then if that wasn't enough, let me throw a 540 double tail whip on the massive quarter pipe, saying, hey, judges, I screwed up my first couple of runs, pay attention to me now.
Oh my goodness, Vince Byron qualified first for a reason. We'll see what he gets here in a second, see how that shapes up the leaderboard. Pretty amazing. So right now we've got Chad KWEG in first with a 93, Colton Satterfield, and then 91, and Vince Byron from Australia with a 90.33. So now we continue in our fourth and final run. So Vince Byron, we're waiting his score, and that will ultimately change up the leaderboard, because there is no doubt that was a high score.
Yeah, I would be very, very surprised if he doesn't go to the top of the list with that one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a brand new trick. We've never seen that one before.
So we'll go back up to the top here in just a second with Zach Newman, and he has improved his score every single run, and he's getting ready for his fourth run. So just got word that Vince Byron has jumped up, and he has got a 94, so he's your current leader. In second place is Chad KWEG with a 93.33. Satterfield with a 91 as Zach Newman goes down.
Zach going down on a truck driver. It's a 360 where the rider and the bicycle are doing a 360, and then you throw the handlebars 360, and believe it or not, it's actually easier to go upside down on this ramp than it is to spin. And we're gonna have to take a look at this truck driver, what went wrong with Zach Newman.
Zach, I'm just sitting here laughing at myself because I just got caught up in this thing, and I'm thinking this is the final.
Oh, no.
We're not even in the final. This is crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
We haven't
Like
even
we said,
narrowed it down to the 5 guys.
The level of riding is so insane. Let's see what we got here. It's gonna be Ben Snowden.
So 10 riders narrowed down to 5. Pretty amazing. You would think that we're already at the podium side.
Snowden keeping it rubber side down. Big front flip. Tabletop to turn down. That's going to be the best score that Ben's had so far. Good combinations pulling the front flip. Check this one out. Front flip. This was an impossibility in BMX less than 5 years ago, and now guys are doing front flips over 30-foot gaps like we have here on the MiniMega.
So Ben Snowden's best score was a 78. See if that changes up here. Napolitan getting ready to go at 87.33. Snowden's day is pretty much wrapped up. He got an 81.67, so that's his best score. Anthony Napolitan, his best score came on his third run. So the field of 10 that you're watching now is going to get narrowed down to 5. And I cannot believe that we're seeing the tricks we are right now.
Yes, Superman backflip out of Napolitan, following that up with a Superman seat grab Indian air. Yo, going off the course, but he stays on the bicycle, so that will certainly count.
We saw that skateboarding yesterday on this ramp. So Anthony Napolitan makes a nice exit. Here he comes. We can find you. You got cameras everywhere. There's a no-footed backflip.
Call it a super flip or a Superman backflip. Your feet are coming off. You're going upside down and pushing the feet as far away from the bicycle as possible. Great guy. I ride with Anthony quite a bit back home in California. He's an awesome guy, and he is one heck of an athlete.
And right now, if it was to stop, he would be in the final. And he would be tied, be a pretty close tie with Simon Tebron. So Simon Tebron here in just a minute can change things up as Mikel Laren goes.
Mikel Laren going upside down, taking the feet off. Another one-handed one-footer. Mikel looks like he's chilling a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Mikel 84.67 competed a lot this week.
Backflip, the feet come off, spot your landing.
So Laren with an 84.67. And we'll move to Lecce. And if you see the name change, it's Lecce Oliveira. He's got a very long name, so.
Change it up a little bit. We just like to call him Dougie Fresh.
Yeah, maybe we'll just put Dougie Fresh up there.
Let's see if he goes for this no-handed front flip. He seemed like he really wanted it. I would love to see him pull it here at his first Kia World Extreme Games. There it was, no-handed front flip. Got the hands off there. One. Tail whip pulled out a little bit too much. Landed a bit flat right there. That's the problem with that ramp, is that if you pull out, there's a chance that you're just gonna drop like a sack of potatoes. And Dougie Fresh going down right there. We talk about the medical crew. Let's check this one out. Watch his hands. The hands come off. That is a front flip no-hander. And then he goes for this tail whip, kicks it, and then gravity is pulling him away from the ramp, and he's missing, and then he just lands like a ton of bricks. You want to catch high on that ramp to catch that transition, and Doug just missing out.
So he goes down, getting medical attention, and in slow motion, it did not, looked like he benefited from a little bit of the transition, but still, he landed pretty darn hard. And they're looking at his lower part of his body on his ankles, and the ankles do take quite a pounding in this sport.
Yeah, especially when you're falling from 30, 35 feet in the air right to the ground. I mean, that's the equivalent of jumping off a 3-story building, landing on a bicycle, and he's walking away. And as it stands right now,
let's take a look at it. Vince Byron with a 94, Chad KWEG with a 93, and Colton Satterfield with a 91. So the top 5 right there would be the guys that would make it to the final right now if they were to end right now. So those top 5 guys, we'll keep an eye on them. And Simon Tebron getting ready to drop in. He's got an 87.10. So Simon catching a little wind up there right now, because I can feel it where we are in the broadcast booth. So here we go, Simon Tebron.
See what Simon brings. 360 tabletop. Just floating a nice 540. Simon keeping it on the safe side.
And that's, you know, I'm curious. This is a very interesting play right here. He makes it into the final. He's been pretty somewhat conservative compared to what we've seen in some of the other guys.
Yes, very true.
He's got to have more than this.
You know what, he does, but MiniMega for Simon is kind of just a fun extra.
The Kia World Extreme Games will be right back with more heart-pumping action after the break. Welcome back to the Kia World Extreme Games. Let's rejoin the action from these top international athletes in this spectacular event. Colton Satterfield, who just ignited this competition a while ago. And he does it again.
Oh my word. He is trying some of the craziest tricks I have ever seen in Shanghai. That was a 360 no-handed backflip to bar spin. Those are 4 crazy tricks in one: a 360, a no-hander, a backflip, and a bar spin. Watch his hands. They come off, get the hands back on, and then throws the handlebars in the middle of a backflip 360. And he just got a little back end heavy right there. And he starts for the slide. Wow.
Wow, stick around for that. That guy will be in the final. That's going to be exciting to watch him. Now we move on to Morgan Wade.
Morgan Wade, another guy that was, he's posing up and trying a trick just in waiting. I think we might see maybe a cannonball out of Morgan here. Cannonball's when the rider lets the bike go completely and grabs the seat with his hands. I could be wrong, but it looked like that's what he was thinking about. Let's see what he's got.
Well, he's trying to get in the final.
That is it. Oh, Morgan Wade.
That's why you wear a full face helmet.
That was actually a Superman seat grab cannonball. Cannonball is when you grab the seat and you stay close to the bike. He pushed the bike away from him here. Look at this. The extension got his hands back on and then just missed those pedals. Thankfully, he's okay.
So right now, the way it's going to shape up is Chad KWEG will be in the final. He could just go on a little soft run here, as could Vince Byron, because they're going to be in the final. It's just a matter of does he want to qualify first or not?
All right, so Chad KWEG in a position to win this thing. The highest score of the day, 93.33. Now here's the question for Chad KWEG. Does he turn it up knowing that he's got Colton Satterfield nipping at his heels? Let's see. Double backflip, sticking that one perfect. Oh! Chad KWEG going flare, double whip right there. The crowd here in Shanghai loves Chad KWEG.
Chad KWEG had a 93.33, the double back.
And then it's a flare double tail whip. Watch the frame. 1 time, 2 times around. He got a little top end heavy, actually missed his pedal and missed his left pedal right there. Thankfully, he's okay.
So Vince Byron will end up the champion back-to-back. So Vince Byron, a 94, Chad KWEG, a 93. So how about that? Pretty impressed with this?
I am speechless right now, and that never happens with me because I'm an announcer. Here we go, Vince Byron, victory lap, cruising with a backflip. What are we gonna get on the quarter pipe? Just the chill air, because he knows he will be leaving this amazing stadium with another gold medal in MiniMega.
It's always tough to repeat, no matter what competition you go to, and Vince Byron was definitely tested today. Chad KWEG put on the pressure, but it was Colton Satterfield who really ignited the competition with that 91 in the 3rd run. So here we go. We've got Vince Byron, and he comes away as the defending and now still reigning champion here at the Kia World Extreme Games. And he ends up with a 94. Chad KWEG with the silver, and Colton Satterfield wins the bronze with a 91. Vince Byron, Chad KWEG, and Colton Satterfield put on a great show, but you know, you go all the way down to the guy that finished 10th, and he put on a great show. So each time out, these guys just get better and better, and they put on just a wonderful contest. So we appreciate these guys coming out and displaying all their great talents. There's Colton Satterfield, who gets the bronze medal. Crowd really appreciate it. You can see, looks like he just played a football game. He's got dirt all over him, sliding around that ramp. And the best thing is that these guys get to walk away. And Chad KWEG, who really upped his game with that 93. Amazing double backflip. And then he did a backflip, a flare whip, and just about everything. The guy is just incredible. And then Vince Byron, as I mentioned as we went to the break, it's always really, really tough to repeat. You got a lot of pressure on you. The reigning champion comes back, defends his title. And Vince Byron, the Aussie, just a super great guy. 2014. Don't turn that sucker on, you might fly away. 2014 Kia BMX MiniMega World Champion. So how about that? Once again, some of the greatest action sports athletes in the world have come and gone to Shanghai, China. The city is still buzzing with all the great memories these athletes leave us with. Until next year, I'm Paul Higgins. Thank you for watching the 2014 Kia World Extreme Games from Shanghai, China.